My phone buzzed on my desk in my Nashville office, the screen lighting up with a text that hit like a punch. "You're not worthy of coming to my engagement party," it read. I'm Gina Marshall, 28 years old, a cultural event planner who pours her heart into every project. I stared at the message, my stomach twisting. My own brother, the one I'd spent 3 months planning this perfect party for, venue, catering, decorations, all on my dime, had just cut me out. His words stung sharp and cold, like he'd been waiting to say them. I'd been up late nights sketching table settings, calling vendors, making sure his big day would shine. And now, he didn't even want me there. I reread the text, my hands shaking. He didn't give a reason, just that I wasn't good enough. My first instinct was to call him, demand answers, but something stopped me. I put the phone down, took a breath, and smiled. A plan was forming. A week later, I'd be on a plane to Hawaii, leaving his precious party in the dust. And when that day fell apart, my phone would light up with calls I wouldn't answer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to how this all started, because trust me, it's a story you won't believe. If you've ever been betrayed by family, drop your story in the comments and hit that subscribe button for more jaw-dropping drama. Dylan's text still glared on my screen, cold as a work email. For 3 months, I'd poured my soul into planning his engagement party, every detail crafted to make his day perfect. I'd scoured Nashville for the ideal venue, landing on a swanky downtown hotel with a rooftop view of the city skyline. I spent late nights sketching table settings, blending rustic country vibes with elegant touches. Think mason jars with fairy lights, a nod to our Tennessee roots. I called in favors to book Teresa Morgan's catering company, known for their mouth-watering southern spreads, and worked with Brian Walsh to design custom decorations from floral arches to engraved name cards. Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager, became my go-to for logistics, ensuring every chair was in place. All this I did for free because Dylan's my brother and family's supposed to mean something. I'd barely slept, juggling my day job as a cultural event planner with his party prep. My inbox overflowed with vendor contracts, my phone buzzing with confirmations, all to make his moment shine. And he repaid me with a text saying I wasn't worthy. My chest tightened, but I didn't cry. Instead, I dialed my mom, Nancy Marshall, hoping she'd see how unfair this was. "Mom, did you know about Dylan's text?" I asked, my voice steady but sharp. Her pause told me everything. "Gina, it's his big day," she said, her tone soft but firm. "He's under a lot of stress. Don't make a fuss." I gripped the phone, stunned. She was taking his side, brushing off my hurt like it was nothing. I hung up, my mind racing. How could she dismiss me like that? I'd spent thousands of hours, not to mention my own money, to make this party flawless. I called Dylan next, needing to hear it from him. "Dylan, what's this about?" I said, keeping my cool. His voice came through, clipped and annoyed. "Look, Gina, my fiancé, Emma Vaughn, and her friends. They want a certain vibe. You don't fit it. It's not personal. Not personal." My blood boiled. I'd built this entire event from scratch, and now I was the outsider. He rambled on about limited seats, about keeping things classy, but every word felt like a jab. Emma's influence was clear. She wanted her crowd front and center, and I was collateral damage. I pressed him, my voice rising. "I'm your sister, Dylan. I've been killing myself for your party, and you're saying I don't belong." He sighed like I was the problem. "Gina, just drop it. It's my call." I hung up, my hands trembling with anger. 3 months of my life, my expertise, my love for my brother, all tossed aside because Emma wanted a picture-perfect guest list. I stared at the contracts on my desk, my name signed on every one. I could have fought harder, screamed or begged, but a quiet resolve settled in. I wasn't going to let them walk over me. Mom called back later that evening, her voice sharper now. "Gina, you need to support your brother," she said. "This is about family, not your feelings." I almost laughed. Family. Where was that family when Dylan kicked me out of his day? I told her I wasn't coming, not as a guest, not as anything. She gasped like I'd betrayed them. "You're being selfish," she snapped. I ended the call, my heart pounding. They thought they could guilt me into silence, but they were wrong. I wasn't just going to sit back and take it. 3 days after my fight with Mom, my dad, Stephen Marshall, called while I was sorting through vendor invoices at my Nashville office. His voice crackled through the phone, calm but edged with expectation. "Gina, we need to talk about the engagement gift," he said. I froze, already sensing where this was going. He explained that my brother and his fiancée were expecting a big gesture, a $3,000 contribution toward a luxury honeymoon for them. My jaw clenched. I'd already sunk countless hours and my own cash into their party, and now they wanted more, Dad. "I'm not paying for that," I said, my tone flat but firm. "I've done enough." His voice hardened. "Gina, this is for family. You can't just opt out." I gripped the edge of my desk, trying to stay composed. He went on, saying my brother deserved this, that I should be proud to help. Proud. After being told I wasn't good enough to even show up, I pushed back. "Dad, I'm not giving a dime when I'm not even welcome at the party." He scoffed like I was being petty. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," he said. "Just do your part." I hung up, my pulse racing. His words echoed Mom's family first, my feelings last. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. They expected me to bankroll their celebration while they pushed me aside. I tried to focus on work, but my phone pinged with a new Instagram notification. It was a post from my cousin Vanessa Reed, tagged at a flashy Nashville bar, the Bluebird. The photo showed her with my brother and a crowd of their friends, all grinning under neon lights, captioned, "Best Bachelor Party Ever, Tasha, Dylan, and Emma." My stomach dropped. I wasn't just uninvited to the engagement party, I was out of the entire inner circle. Vanessa hadn't even mentioned me, not a text, not a call. I clicked through the story, watching clips of them toasting, laughing, planning the big day I'd built from the ground up. Every smile felt like a slap. I'd spent months making their moment perfect, and they were partying without a single thought of me. I messaged Vanessa, keeping it short. "Hey, saw your post. Was I supposed to be there?" Her reply came fast, too casual. "Oh, Gina, it was just a small thing. Didn't think you'd care. Didn't think I'd care. I'd been up nights coordinating their vendors, double-checking menus, ensuring every detail was flawless." My fingers hovered over the keyboard, tempted to fire back, but I stopped. She didn't get it. None of them did. I closed the app, my chest tight with a mix of anger and betrayal. The people I'd poured my heart out for had erased me from their celebration, and now they were flaunting it online. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the stack of contracts on my desk. My name was on every one venue catering decorations. I'd called in every favor, spent my own money, and they still thought I was disposable. Dad's demand for $3,000 replayed in my head alongside Vanessa's carefree post. They weren't just excluding me. They were milking me for everything I had. I wasn't going to let them guilt me into compliance. I'd done more than enough, and they'd made it clear I didn't belong. A decision was forming, one I hadn't fully admitted to myself yet. I wasn't going to beg for their approval, I was going to take control. 1 week before the party, I met my best friend Tracy Fisher at a coffee shop near Music Row. The place buzzed with the usual Nashville crowd, musicians, tourists, the hum of ambition, but I barely noticed. I slid into the booth, my laptop open to a spreadsheet of vendor contracts, and unloaded everything. "Tracy, they're treating me like I'm nothing," I said, my voice low but steady. I told her how my brother had excluded me from his engagement party, how Mom sided with him, how Dad demanded $3,000 for a gift I wouldn't even be invited to celebrate. And then Vanessa's Instagram post, flaunting a bachelor party I wasn't part of. Tracy listened, her eyes narrowing, sipping her latte without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned forward. "Gina, you've been running yourself ragged for them. Why are you still managing their party?" I hesitated. It hadn't occurred to me to walk away, not fully. I'd been so caught up in proving my worth and holding on to family that I hadn't considered stopping. Tracy pointed at my laptop. "You signed those contracts, right? with Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager Teresa Morgan, the caterer Brian Walsh, the decorator. I nodded. Every agreement had my name on it, my reputation backing it. Then you have the power, she said, her voice sharp. You don't owe them anything. Let your brother figure it out. Her words hit like a spark. I'd spent months coordinating every detail, Carlos confirming the rooftop setup, Teresa finalizing the southern menu, Brian sketching floral designs. I'd done it all out of love, but love wasn't what I got back. Tracy was right. I didn't have to keep carrying their weight. I opened my email, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. What if I just stop? I said, testing the idea. Tracy grinned. Exactly. Let them deal with the mess. You deserve better. I felt a rush of clarity, like a fog lifting. I wasn't going to beg for a seat at a table that didn't want me. I drafted emails to Carlos, Teresa, and Brian, keeping it professional but firm. I explained I was stepping back from managing the event due to personal reasons and that my brother would take over. I didn't owe them an explanation, but I wanted to protect my professional ties. Carlos replied, almost instantly confused. Gina, you're the glue here. You sure about this? I was. Teresa called, her voice worried. We're on track because of you. He's not ready for this. I thanked her, but held my ground. Brian texted, asking if I was okay. I didn't reply. My decision was final. That night, I sat at my apartment staring at my phone. No calls from my family, no apologies, just silence. I opened a travel site and searched for flights to Oahu, Hawaii. The idea had been lingering since that first text, but now it felt real. I wasn't just running away, I was choosing myself. I found a flight leaving Nashville the morning of the party, landing in Honolulu by afternoon. I pictured myself on Waikiki Beach, far from the chaos I was about to unleash. My finger hovered over the book button, my heart pounding with a mix of defiance and freedom. I clicked it. The confirmation email pinged, locking in my escape. I called Tracy to tell her. I'm out. I said, my voice lighter than it had been in weeks. I'm going to Hawaii. She laughed, triumphant. Good for you, Gina. Let them figure out their own party. I hung up, feeling a weight lift. My family thought they could use me and toss me aside, but I was done playing their game. I wasn't just stepping back. I was walking away, leaving them to face the consequences of their choices. My phone stayed quiet, but I knew that wouldn't last. They'd realize soon enough what they'd lost. The morning of the party, I sat at Nashville Airport sipping coffee. My boarding pass for Honolulu was tucked in my pocket, my suitcase packed for Oahu. The terminal buzzed with travelers, but I felt calm, almost weightless, knowing I'd walked away from my brother's chaos. I'd handed over the reins, and now it was his mess to handle. My phone stayed silent. No apologies, no last-minute pleas from my family. I wasn't surprised. They'd taken me for granted, and I was done waiting for them to care. Back in Nashville, the rooftop venue was unraveling. Carlos Ortiz, the venue manager, called my brother early that morning, his voice tight with frustration. Without my oversight, the setup was a disaster. Half the tables lacked centerpieces. The floral arches I'd planned with Brian Walsh were missing, replaced with cheap balloons that didn't match the country chic vibe. Guests were arriving, and the staff was scrambling, unsure who was in charge. Carlos tried reaching me, but I'd already told him I was out. Your brother's clueless, he texted, but I didn't respond. I'd warned them. Teresa Morgan, the caterer, faced her own nightmare. The southern menu I'd finalized, barbecue sliders, cornbread, peach cobbler, was botched. Without my coordination, the wrong dishes arrived: cold sandwiches instead of hot entrees, no desserts, and a mix-up with the vegetarian options. Guests grumbled, posting complaints on social media about tacky food at a supposedly classy event. Teresa left my brother a voicemail, her tone sharp. Gina had this under control. What happened? He didn't have an answer. He was drowning, trying to micromanage a team that no longer had a leader. Brian Walsh, the decorator, was equally lost. The engraved name cards I'd designed were nowhere to be found, and the lighting setup was incomplete, leaving the rooftop dim and uninviting. Guests whispered about the half-finished decor, some leaving early. My brother and his fiancée were at the center of the storm, fielding complaints while trying to keep up appearances. Tensions boiled over. During a heated moment by the bar, she snapped at him, her voice carrying over the crowd. "This is your fault. You said you could handle it." He fired back, blaming her for pushing me out. Their argument escalated, guests staring as the perfect couple unraveled in front of everyone. My phone started buzzing as I waited at the gate. First, a text from Mom: "Gina, the party's a mess. Call me." Then Dad: "Where are you? Fix this." My brother sent a string of messages, each more desperate. "Gina, the vendors are freaking out. You need to help." I stared at the screen, my coffee cooling in my hand. They'd ignored me for months, dismissed my work, my worth. Now, when their big day was crumbling, they wanted me to swoop in. I silenced my phone, slipping it into my bag. I wasn't their safety net anymore. As I boarded the plane, another text came through, an unknown number, probably a guest. "This party's a joke." "Where's the planner?" I didn't reply. The flight attendant announced takeoff, and I leaned back, picturing the chaos unfolding miles away. My brother and his fiancée were likely still arguing, their voices drowned out by complaints. Carlos, Teresa, and Brian were probably scrambling to salvage what they could, but without my direction, it was hopeless. The rooftop, meant to be a glowing celebration, was a patchwork of mistakes. Empty tables, wrong food, dim lights. I felt a pang of guilt, but it passed. They'd made their choices, and so had I. I thought about what Tracy had said: I had the power. For once, I was using it for myself. My family expected me to clean up their mess, but I was done being their fallback. The plane's engines roared, and I closed my eyes, ready for Honolulu. My phone vibrated again in my bag, but I ignored it. They could call all they wanted, I was already gone. The plane landed in Honolulu, and I felt the ocean breeze from Waikiki as I stepped outside. Oahu welcomed me with warm air and the distant hum of waves, a world away from Nashville's chaos. I checked into a small hotel steps from the beach, my room overlooking the turquoise water. For the first time in months, I breathed easy, no vendor emails or family demands weighing me down. I was here to find myself, not to fix anyone else's mess. My first morning, I walked along Waikiki Beach, the sand soft under my feet. Tourists snapped photos, surfers rode waves, and I let the rhythm of the ocean pull me away from resentment. I wasn't ready to forgive my family, but I wanted to let go of the anger. I signed up for a meditation class at a local Buddhist temple tucked away in a quiet valley. The instructor, a woman named Leilani, guided us through breathing exercises, her voice calm and grounding. "Focus on your truth," she said. I sat cross-legged, eyes closed, trying to release the hurt. My brother's rejection, Mom's dismissal, Dad's pressure, my cousin's indifference. It wasn't easy, but each breath felt like a step toward peace. Back at the hotel, I started a journal. I wrote about the months I'd spent pouring my heart into a party that didn't want me, the sting of being sidelined by people I loved. But I also wrote about the waves, the temple, the way Leilani's words made me feel seen. Writing became my anchor, a way to process without breaking. I wasn't crying or raging, I was rebuilding. My phone buzzed occasionally, texts from Mom, Dad, even my brother, but I didn't open them. Their urgency didn't matter here. I was done being their problem solver. On my third day, Tracy texted me a link. "Check this out," she wrote. It was an article she'd published on a popular online news site titled "Event Planner Excluded from Family's Big Day Speaks Out." My heart raced as I read it. Tracy, my best friend and a freelance journalist, had interviewed me before I left Nashville, weaving my story into a powerful piece about family dynamics and standing up for yourself. She detailed how I'd spent months organizing a flawless engagement party, only to be cast aside for not fitting the vibe. She didn't name my family, but the truth was clear. The article was raw, honest, and it was spreading fast. I scrolled through the comments, hundreds of them. Strangers shared their own stories of being undervalued, of choosing themselves over toxic expectations. "You're an inspiration," Gina one wrote. "Don't let them dim your light," said another. A small community was forming, people I'd never met cheering me on. My inbox filled with messages from readers, some offering support, others asking for advice on setting boundaries. I wasn't alone anymore. Tracy's article had turned my pain into something bigger, a rallying cry for anyone who'd been pushed aside. I texted her back. "You're incredible. Thank you." She replied with a heart emoji, no words needed. I kept exploring Oahu, renting a bike to ride along the coast, stopping at food trucks for shave ice and poke bowls. The island's vibrancy, palm trees swaying, ukulele music drifting from open-air bars felt like a gift. I joined a sunset yoga session on the beach, stretching under a pink sky, feeling stronger with every pose. My journal grew thicker, pages filled with reflections on what I deserved, not what my family thought I owed them. I wasn't hiding from my problems. I was rediscovering my worth. My phone kept buzzing, missed calls from mom, dad, my cousin, even a few from unknown numbers, probably guests from the party. I didn't answer. Their messages piled up, but I didn't care to read them. I'd spent too long trying to please them, and now I was choosing me. Tracy's article had shown me that my story mattered, that I wasn't wrong for walking away. The support from strangers online felt more real than my family's last-minute desperation. I wasn't ready to confront them, and maybe I never would be. For now, Oahu was enough. 2 weeks after my trip, I returned to Nashville, my apartment as quiet and peaceful as when I'd left. Oahu had given me clarity, a chance to rebuild away from the weight of my family's expectations. I set my suitcase down, the faint scent of ocean still clinging to my clothes, and checked my phone. A flood of notifications waited. Missed calls, texts, voicemails, mostly from mom, dad, and my cousin. I didn't open them. Their words couldn't undo what they'd done. I was ready to move forward, not backward. Tracy called that evening, her voice brimming with news. "Gina, you won't believe what's happened," she said. She'd heard through mutual friends that my brother and his fiancée had called off their engagement. The disastrous party had been the breaking point, guests complaining about the lackluster setup, the wrong food, the dim lighting. Their argument that night, raw and public, exposed cracks that couldn't be mended. Emma had walked out blaming my brother for mishandling everything while he blamed her for pushing me away. I listened, my heart steady, not surprised. They'd built their celebration on my work, then discarded me. Now they were facing the fallout. I didn't feel joy at their split, but I didn't feel guilt either. I'd given them everything, my time, my skills, my heart, and they'd thrown it away. Tracy asked if I wanted to reach out, maybe talk to my brother. I shook my head, though she couldn't see it. "No," I said. "I'm done trying to fix things." She didn't push, just said she was proud of me. Her support, unlike my family's, was unwavering, a reminder of what real loyalty looked like. My family kept trying to reach me. Mom left voicemails, her tone softer now, asking to meet. Dad sent texts insisting we talk this out like adults. My cousin left a message, vague and half-hearted, mentioning the party's failure like it was my fault. I deleted them all. I'd spent years bending to their demands, sacrificing my peace to keep them happy. No more. I wasn't angry, just resolute. Cutting them off wasn't about spite, it was about protecting myself. I blocked their numbers one by one, feeling lighter with each tap. My apartment, once a place of stress and vendor calls, became my sanctuary. Tracy's article, still circulating online, changed everything. My inbox overflowed with inquiries from event planners across Nashville, impressed by my story and my work. A local music festival organizer wanted me to coordinate their spring event. A couple planning a wedding reached out, inspired by how I'd stood up for myself. Even a corporate client hosting a gala downtown asked for a consultation. I met them at a sleek office near the Cumberland River pitching ideas for elegant setups with a southern twist. They signed a contract on the spot, my biggest yet. Tracy's words had turned my pain into opportunity, proving my worth to a world beyond my family. I started journaling again, not about hurt, but about growth. I wrote about the strength it took to walk away to choose myself over people who didn't see my value. Each new contract felt like a validation, not just of my skills, but of my decision to stop begging for approval. I wasn't the same Gina who'd spent months on a party that didn't want her. I was someone who knew her worth, who built boundaries stronger than any floral arch I'd ever designed. Looking back, I saw the lesson clearly. Respecting myself meant letting go of those who didn't, family or not. My brother, mom, dad, my cousin. They'd expected me to carry their weight, to stay silent when they pushed me out. I'd tried to be the perfect daughter, the perfect sister, but perfection came at too high a cost. Walking away wasn't easy, but it was right. I didn't need their validation anymore. I had my work, my story, and a community of strangers who'd lifted me up when my family wouldn't. Self-respect, I learned, was the foundation of everything else. Without it, I'd still be chasing their approval, losing myself in the process.